What's going on, guys? Your boy Zeke in the building. Let me know if you guys can hear me over the music. Let me know if we're good. I'm gonna actually bring it down just a little bit here. But I am here for episode 2, guys. I don't want to keep you waiting for too long. Again, I like to do my little recaps on Sunday now. Last week we had our first one. This one, I'm just want to talk briefly. I like to do a quick little recap in the high school series. Nothing too crazy, but definitely enough to really, dive into things and how the week was and whatnot. So definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in here tonight. How you guys doing out there? I'm looking at the comments, seeing who's here. What up, Ramon? My boy RHC in the building. Isaiah Frost, of course, in the building as well. Dior Gore, my boy Mac. What's the deal, Colo? Gucci, Armani, Samaje Sims, Jet Anderson. Shout out to all the guys in attendance, man. And of course, Brian Schneider, of course. I haven't forgotten you, my brother. But guys, we are just finishing week 4. And as you all know, we just witnessed the Westlake upset on Longview. Not much of an upset, 3-2, but nonetheless, it's still an upset. So we're going to talk about the top 10 state rankings. What do you guys think? What are your you know, what are your opinions after a couple of things here? Not many upsets this week, nothing major, so it might not be too much movement. I believe most of the higher seeded teams did what they were supposed to do. But you know, you never know. Every time a ranking comes out or drops, things change, things shift. So shout out to everybody in here to check out the recap. 19 in attendance. You guys hit that like button. We got week 4 recap. D-ville remains undefeated, still the #1 team in Texas. I'm pretty sure that won't change anytime soon, as these guys, I mean, they have been getting tested, and we're going to get to that. And then we're going to get into a little bit of week 5 predictions, guys, before we get out of here. But again, just tuning in, letting guys come through. Late night special pod, league first hashtag. What's going on, Rob? Big Robin Banks, EA in attendance as well. Generics, RFL Generics here. Dalen Mitchell, D Willis. What's good, y'all? Hey, RFL Generics, I'm loving it. Guys, you guys stay tuned. Stack is in the building, and he's back for another season. I got some news dropping for you guys. I didn't put something in that title there, but we will have transfer portal information coming up here for you guys tonight. So be in attendance for that. Make sure you share the link to everybody in the league. Make sure they are coming into this podcast, because you know the podcasts are valuable. They come with a lot of information, so definitely want to tune in or watch them back as we get into it. Of course, nothing fancy again, guys, on the graphics here. Just had to put something together for you guys. Checking out week 4 schedule. This is what we had on the docket. So it was a pretty strong schedule here. Shout out to Chris Taylor just tapping in. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. Shout out to RFL Generics again, guys. We will be releasing 4 commitments today from 4 generic players. All these guys draftable generics, guys that are going to be following you through your high school, college, and pro career. So definitely keep a lookout on these guys. Scouts, make sure you tap in with these guys. They will be getting you know, an opportunity to shine in CS7 if you see fit for them to start, come off the bench, or whatever the case. That's just what we're in for, you know. So definitely going to have that on the docket as well. And Alvin Mack, hey, transfers are in. It's going to be going down. You know, we got a lot of transfers about to go down. There's probably going to be a lot of madness, but that's what it's all about, and that's why kids have the opportunity to do so. You know, but kicking into week 4, guys, we did have started things off with Austin, Lake Travis, and Lancaster. I think I want to make sure I did this one right, actually, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. So we got my boy Holiday in the building. What's going on, Jay Holiday? I don't know why my YouTube like runs behind on my PC, but it's cool because I got my laptop open too. So we moving. Florida boys in the building. Devontae Moore. Case and Moore. Shout out to Case and Moore, man. I feel like he's been coming alive these last couple of weeks here. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in, fellas. Hey, we are officially YouTube partner. We got the partner program, y'all. So go ahead and put that hashtag league first, man. We did it. We are in. So we're going to keep building off that momentum. We're going to keep rocking into the NCAA College 25. And that's going to take us to the next level. We're going to have tons of viewership, tons of, you know, just exciting news dropping, tons of dope videos, high quality games coming to you live, live commentary. I'm going to just really be ready to go. So shout out to everybody that helped us get there with all the views, all the subscriptions, and all the likes. So keep it up, guys, as we keep this journey going. Checking out that first game, guys, we had Lancaster and Austin Lake Travis. Lancaster did their job here. 45-20 ball game. First quarter, they kept it close, 7-7. Second quarter, Lancaster started to heat up. Third quarter, they did it again. 14 back-to-back 14-point performances in a quarter, and then they followed that up with a 10-point fourth quarter to close things out. So, I mean, these guys just kept the pressure on, as you can see. Lake Travis, they couldn't get their head up out of the water. They just kept them down. I mean, that third quarter really did them in for real. And then that fourth quarter, Lake Travis tried to fight a little bit, but it was a little bit too late as they went ahead and crushed them 45-20. And taking a look at the key factors here, key players. Keandre Williams, of course, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, freshman. at that. 35-43, 412 yards, adding on 13 carries and 32 yards, 5 total touchdowns for this young kid. So he was really in the zone. Guys, keep a lookout for this kid. Scouts, put him on your board. Freshman quarterback, really doing some damage. Milam Logan, again, coming in, doing 4 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 sacks. That's actually going to be another generic. Just added senior player. It's actually Miles Logan there. So he did his damage as well. As we move over to Quinn Archer, you guys know I'm really big on Quinn Archer. Didn't have the best of games though. 22 for 31, 226, and just 1 touchdown. And defensively, Lionel Blackwell, he had a nice night. 4 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. So all in all, some good football defensively from this unit. When you in terms of our generics, our draftable generics and things of that nature. But other than that, in the bigger scheme of things, Lancaster just fully dominated this game, and it was honestly nothing that these guys could do about it. Nothing these guys can do about it. Lancaster going to be moving on. I believe that's going to be 3-1 for the Tigers here on the season. Yep, 3-1 on the season, and that's going to be a 2-0 road record for the Tigers. So these guys have not lost a game on the road yet. Nobody has been able to take them down. So we got to see if teams have what it takes to really get it done against Lancaster, because Lancaster's walking in your trap and taking it over. What's going on, fam? I see you in here, Bart. They walking in your trap, taking it over right about now. So if any time you see these boys in the building, just be prepared for a show, because you just might be in trouble. But we're gonna move along here to this next game. Just doing a little renaming here, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're gonna move on to this next game. I believe we had the Cibolo Steel game in North Shore. That was a pretty big game coming in. I was very high on this game, I'm not gonna lie to you. My guy Chosen, he doesn't like the boys over at Cibolo for some reason. It's funny in the chat. It's just a funny joke. They calling him he's a Cibolo hater. He's a Cibolo Steel hater. This kid does not have any love whatsoever for Cibolo. But these kids started off their season 3-1. What can I say? I mean, at the end of the day, they took a tough loss to a very tough North Shore team led by a guy named Jay Holiday, right? And they took a 38-17 loss. That third quarter has been crucial. It looks like that's been the quarter of the week so far in these first 2 games. 17-0. That's a shutout for you in that third quarter. That's a tough second half start to a game. And that just probably did it for them, especially being on the road there. In fourth quarter, they tried to fight back, tied at 7-7 in that quarter. They not tied at 7-7, but scored 7-7 in that quarter. But that third quarter was just too much damage, as North Shore put up at least 7 points each quarter there. So really just on fire, and a lot of running on the ground. PJ Montero, I know he had himself a game. Pretty impressive game from him as we look at the stats here. Jacob Patty did his thing, 26 for 40, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, 46 on the ground. Curtis Pruitt, strong safety, 8 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a sack. That's his second time being on this list here. So this kid's putting on a show. Senior generic, be on the lookout for him as well. Scouts, get your pins out. Davion Royal, let's talk about him. Recently reclassed to that senior class. This kid's uncommitted, looking to sign somewhere. 5 receptions, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. You got to think, will he follow his quarterback teammate right now, Johnny Holiday, to Texas and become a Longhorn next season in CS7? That's going to be very interesting to see, as he is uncommitted and he is looking for the offers. I'm sure they're coming in abundance right now for young Davion Royal, especially after that performance this week. DeAnthony Carter, another strong performance for this kid as well. 4 tackles and an interception. So this kid here, he's special as well. I think he might be on his way to Georgia Tech, if I'm not mistaken. I think this kid did end up giving an early commitment. He's still a young fella here in the series, just a freshman, but he did give Georgia Tech an early commitment. So they're getting themselves a dog right there in DeAnthony Carter. coming in over there for Georgia Tech. As we go ahead and dive on into this next game, guys, how do you feel about the North Shore bounce back? Remember, took a tough loss, a very tough loss recently last week there. I'm sure they weren't too happy about that one. But, you know, you always got to bounce back. It was a strong bounce back, I'll tell you that much. As we dive into this next game, guys, Summer Creek and good old Odessa Permian, man. Let's talk about it. I mean, Summer Creek finally getting in the win column, guys. That is the story for these guys. I mean, I wasn't sure if they were going to get a win. I mean, I was rooting for these guys. I really was. I was really rooting for these guys, and you guys know I'm a big fan of Chubba. I kept having him up there as Bubba Ward, but this is the last game where he'll be Bubba Ward, but his name is Chubba Ward. So this kid is special. I mean, another game, another week where he's put on a performance that was very, very impressive, especially just to be a freshman recruit. He is also uncommitted, guys, so, you know, you definitely want to check out that kid, Chubba, very active on Instagram as well. 40-27 victory for Summer Creek. Two 17-point quarters in that first half. I mean, that just did it. That's all they needed. They didn't even need to play the second half. I mean, granted, Odessa fought back. They had a 20-point second half versus a 6, so they won that second half by a mile, but you know, that first half, that was just too much of a lead gain for Summer Creek, and Odessa Permian was not able to fight back and come back in that one. But Jonathan White, he tried to fight him back. 12 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown for this kid over there. Jonathan White, generic as well in our series, going to be looking to make a commitment as well. So guys, get your scouts out, get your pins out. If you need a running back, Jonathan White just might be your guy. Or maybe you need an Austin McCarthy, middle linebacker, 7 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. Archie Bronson put on a big night. These two guys are not official generics down there, but they sure look like they want to be. But this guy is Drew Ripken, tough kid, 26 for 34, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 110 yards on the ground. He was out there playing like a user quarterback. He was playing like a user quarterback out there. Good old Drew Ripken. He's tired of losing. They had to shake some things up a bit. Chris Taylor's over there as well. So these guys getting it done and finally getting their first win in the high school series, guys. Their first win as we move on. Remember, South Lake and Atacosita had a game on their hands. How do you guys feel so far about South Lake? I mean, they had a tough fall last time out, but you know, same thing as our previous team there. Just a major comeback here as we take a look at the key players first here. Just an impressive performance from freshman quarterback Zane Wilder. He continues to get better and better, and you know what, this week he finally showed us that arm. 30 for 42, 374 yards, 2 touchdowns, 84 on the ground. So less efficient, right? The accuracy wasn't there as it normally is, but he threw it more. So he had much more volume there out this week, and he had a much higher, you know, performance and output in yards. So I know he's happy about that 374 performance. Same for Jay Wilson, coming off of just, I believe, 100-something yards in that first game. He threw also 40 times for 27 completions. So these kids played around the same, 302 yards and 2 total touchdowns came. So wow, 2 touchdowns off 6 carries. That's crazy. And you got to think they didn't even put his he probably didn't even rush for a lot of yards. So he just has some quick ones down there in the end zone. So nice little duel here. John Wilson getting that reclass to a senior, and he is officially committed to Georgia. So man, this is a Georgia Bulldog quarterback we're looking at right here. Will John Wilson get the job as a freshman, a true freshman in CS7 for the Bulldogs? As we all know, Adam, I'm not even gonna say his last name because y'all kill me every time for it. So Adam is looking like he's headed on out of there. That's the rumors. Word around town. And so John Wilson, the freshman, is going to be headed on campus, and he's going to be looking to get that start for the Bulldogs. How you guys feeling out there in Athens? I'm not sure, but this kid's looking pretty solid right now in his second game here in week 4. Still unable to get a win for this ball club, but he's doing all he can. That was a tough South Lake team. Shout out to Merritt and Will Goat, 2 generics that are not in the series, but pretty impressive outings here. And let's take a look at the final score. It was a 43-17 shutout, or not shutout, but a blowout. And as you can see, guys, these first few games early on, it was pretty ugly, pretty nasty. 17 points in the first quarter, 10 points in the second quarter. Took a quarter off, came out sluggish in that third and second half. You know, maybe they sat in the locker room a little too long because the Eagles came out firing. And then the fourth quarter, they wrapped things up strong, 13-0, to really close this game out. Just an uneven game, a dominant game for South Lake Carroll. Much needed win here for this ball club to get them rolling into week 5 strong and confident. A lot of top guys on this team. Talk about a guy like D Rush. He's really tough over there, really locking up that outside with the best of them. 4-star right now, probably going to be getting that 5-star pretty soon. You gotta think he's a tough kid. I don't know his situation. Did he sign? Did he commit to Bama? I believe D Rush is committed to Bama, but I can't remember if he flipped to Missouri or not. So I'm sure you guys let me know in the comments, but a really tough recruit there, and anybody would be glad to have him on their team. So big ups to D Rush, the senior 4-star cornerback right now, flirting with that 5-star. Really flirting with that 5-star. I'm checking out the comments now, guys. Sorry about that. I've been locked in. But big ups to everybody in attendance still. 20 still strong. He was committed to Bama but switched to Mizzou. So, okay, so that's a flip. All right, yeah. And we had quite a few of those. But, yeah, so Deshaun Rush did commit to Bama, but then he flipped to Mizzou. So let me change that on the spreadsheet, actually. So yeah, I definitely just changed that, fix that up for my guy D Rush. My boy Mitchell. Oh, who's that? Davion. Okay, yeah. So we getting next star updates after this week. So week 5 will go by. So week 4, week 5, and then week 6. I plan on dropping them. So that's like 2 weeks, and then another one in week 8. So we'll have 3 total. Week 6 and week 8 is the last week of the season. So then we'll have our final star rankings after week 8, and then we'll get into playoffs and things of that nature. So, you know, we're setting up pretty nice, man. I say we're going at a nice pace. We already headed into week 5. What do you guys think? I think we're moving pretty fast. I mean, the game is coming out soon. You know, I don't feel rushed. I feel good. I feel like we're in a good spot right now. We're right where we need to be. Right where we need to be as we jump into this next game, guys. We got a chance to see North Crawley versus Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill came into this game 0-3, looking for that first win, still struggling, trying to find it, but it will not be done in week 4 as North Crawley beat them 23-17. Now, this was a good game, however. This was a good game that could have went either way, but unfortunately for Cedar Hill, they just couldn't make enough plays down there in the stretch, and they've been going through quite a tough time. I gotta say, like, a few of their games have been very close. Last week they lost by 1 point, like at the end of the game, final drive. So it's just been really a heartbreaker of a season for Cedar Hill. But, you know, again, I want to stress these guys are very young ball club out here. A lot of freshmen on this team. I don't even think they have any upperclassmen or notable upperclassmen on the team right now, besides some generics we recently added, or at least draftable generics. But these kids are really good, has a lot of potential. I do think, I'm not sure if anyone has committed. Oh, yes, I believe Kane Robinson, another Georgia guy. So they did lock in freshman running back Kane Robinson for Georgia. Or I'm not sure. He might be a sophomore. I got to check with him. But he's either a freshman or a sophomore. But he is headed to Georgia. So Georgia getting it, locking in 2 recruits there that we just mentioned here. Coming out of Cedar Hill is going to be Kane Robinson, brother of AC Robinson, who just finished up a 10-win season at Texas. So, you know, this family's got it. You know, they've got it in their blood. They are some true ballers, and definitely someone to look out for is Kane Robinson of Cedar Hill. Despite the records, despite it all, these kids might have some potential as we get some stats here on the board. Bart Sinclair, 13 for 17, 167 yards through the air, and 122 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. This kid is a true dual threat. He's the true definition of a dual threat quarterback. Only threw the ball 17 times, ran it 24 times, and that is how they run their offense. I mean, Crowley's going to run that offense through Bart, and they're going to rely on this kid to get it done. Daniel Severio Jr., 6 tackles, 3 TFLs, and a sack. A strong defensive unit there. I believe their defensive unit stepped up big this week and really helped contribute to this W as they've made it hard on young freshman quarterback DJ Armani. He threw 21 for 30, which isn't too bad, and 242 yards. Also a dual threat quarterback as well. Remember, we've seen times in that game where these two guys were going back and forth, 20-yard runs at a time. 76 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns for DJ Armani and 242 rushing yards. So you got to say, at the end of the day, he did a stellar job against senior quarterback Bart St. Clair, and Florida recently committed to Florida with a bunch of his guys here over at Crowley. But sorry to say, one of those guys won't be Daniel Severio Jr., as he'll be headed with his guys over to Mizzou to play for Missouri next season, which we all know that class is looking a little stacked. LeBart Vic III. Not LeBart Vic III. Nah, you're definitely dope. I mean, there's a lot of guys that's running the football, a lot of quarterbacks, but I think you stand out to me as like a real true dual quarterback, like a real scrambler. Like that boy, he can run it. You and T.O., but I think T.O., he might throw it a little better, just a little better, but you and T.O. definitely run that football for sure. Definitely run that football. Right, right, exactly. Leading the state in rushing yards is quarterback LeBart Vic III, as he'd like to call himself. But Bart St. Clair, guys, really tough kid, really tough athlete. And Florida, the Gators, man, look out for the Gators. They're going to be getting one. They're getting a special one here. Gotta look out for those Gators next season, guys, as we jump into this next game on our Saturday docket. Still, we at Prosper and D-Ville. Prosper and D-Ville. I believe this is how we ended our Saturday night, and this was a special one. If you were tuned into this one, you seen it all. D-Ville taking all the smoke. You're going to throw your best hand at D-Ville, but at the end of the day, Duncanville, they know how to get it done. And that is why they are #1 in the state of Texas, because these guys are relentless. And just when you think you got them, they're able to put their foot down and get a win. And as you see the consistency on the board, just that third quarter came out a little sluggish, but 10s all across the board almost for D-Ville. And that would have been a 40-piece. These guys are going to put up a lot of points. That's their thing. Offense. Their defense is tough, too. Don't get me wrong. Guys like Oba headed over to Mizzou, and Draco Campbell as well headed over to Mizzou. So these kids have a tough defensive lineup. Even A.J. Wilson playing athlete over there, cornerback, and Dre Jackson. So don't get it twisted. But at the end of the day, that offense is superb. That offense is just it's just amazing, the offense. So at the end of the day, big ups to Jordan Davis and that unit for getting it done. 33-27, but a huge fight from Dante Taylor, Austin Evans, and the guys. As we take a look at the stats here, Sheldon Lee coming away with 7 receptions, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Ridge Winston, another added generic there, 5 tackles, a TFL, 2 tackles in that interception. I'm sure you guys remember him snatching there from good old Jordan Davis. And it was a pretty tough one, actually. I remember looking back on that one, but hey, you're gonna get an interception if a guy lights you up for 433. You just might throw an interception or two. 36 for 46. This kid was letting it rip, letting it fly. 3 touchdowns, 12 yards on the ground, and of course, this 1 interception for Ridge Winston. But just a big-time game from JD when it all matters on the big stage, knocking down Prosper. And Dre Jackson just talked about this kid. 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, and an interception. Jordan Davis on his way to Alabama to see what he can do for the Crimson Tide. Probably going to be taking over for our guy over there right now. I mean, you know what, though? I'm not going to lie to you, low-key. I'm not too mad at my boy. I'm not too mad at my boy over there right now, but at the end of the day, my guy Bohannon Cannon, as I like to call him, he might have to get the spot took by Jordan Davis. So we're gonna keep an eye out for those Alabama boys. doing their thing. Big ups to Duncanville, remaining undefeated right now in the series. As we head on over to our next ball game that we had here. Let me get this one on the screen for you guys. As we took a look at Byron Nelson and Alito kicking off Sunday's action. 23-19 victory for Byron Nelson in this game. And these kids this is a pretty solid team. I can't lie. This is a pretty solid team that you got to keep your eye out for. Nothing too crazy or special or dominant about them, but I mean, they're 2-1 right now. Let me double check. Or 2-2. Yeah, they're 2-2 right now, and they're 2-0 at home, and they're 0-2 on the road. So just if these guys got you at home, be careful. That's all I can say. Right now, they're struggling on the road, haven't found out how to win, how to come together as a team and get it done. But if you catch these guys at B. Nelson on the field, they might get your number. Haven't lost one game there yet. 2-2. Alito still struggling to get that first victory of the year. So just keeping an eye out for the guys like Taylor Johnston and Russell Norton. And these guys, it's been a tough going right now for them in HS1. But hey, these guys have got to lock in and figure out how to get it done, because right now they're 0-4 and it's not looking good. Not looking good as we check out the key players in this game. Of course, we got Kirk Matthews, pretty tough quarterback here, always getting it done. More of a runner, scrambler type quarterback, but he decided to show us his arm this week. 21 for 28, didn't even log rushing stats. 293 yards in the air and a touchdown for this kid, Kirk Matthews. Matt Cornett, a light game, 3 tackles, a TFL and a sack. This is a very tight game right here. As you can see, Alito's top player was actually a kicker, Conrad Gates. He was 4 for 4, so he had the points. He's putting the points on the board. He had a 48-yarder, and he was 1 for 1 in extra points. He's officially a generic, so scouts, be on the lookout for Conrad Gates. He's officially available for CS7. So you guys all know those kickers are very important to a team in a college series, even in a pro series. So be on the lookout for Conrad Gates. He's over here winning player of the games. What kickers you know doing that? He's got to be special, so keep your eye out on him. Zamari Hill, committed to Florida, another kicker out there. He's actually a user kicker, so don't sleep on these kickers tonight. Isaac Austin, another added strong safety generic. Keep a lookout on him for this guy as well. 9 tackles, 2 TFLs, and an assisted one. So these guys are rolling. Those generics are going to be very key for these programs, so don't take these things lightly. These guys are important to every team, and they will eventually fill out college rosters as well as professional rosters in the near future. So be on the lookout for each generic that's written down in the spreadsheet, and make sure you're doing your proper recruiting and your proper training. As we take a look at this Lovejoy South Oak game, I mean, this is one of the game of the weeks. I feel like not highlighted previously a game of the week, and now after the games have been played, this right here was probably one of the best games of the week, and I'm sure you guys can attest to that if you were tuned into this one. It was a complete showdown. As you can see, they were going blow for blow, toe to toe. 10 points out the gate for Lovejoy, showing SOC they are not backing down from the challenge. But then SOC returned the favor and gave them 10-7 themselves. Third quarter rolls around, tight game, both teams locked in. Cliff able to take a 3-0 lead in that quarter, but then fourth quarter things got spicy. 14-14, just a matter of a third quarter, guys. I mean, they literally had the same game going, the same quarters, they shared it blow for blow, but that third quarter was the difference maker. Literally lost the game due to that 3 points given up in the third quarter by Lovejoy, and SOC is going to survive this week. Been having a couple of tough games lately, coming off of a win or off of a loss, a 3-point win over Lovejoy. I don't think it's too joyful for the Golden Bears, but at the end of the day, a win is a win. They move on to 3-1 and 2-0 on the road. Don't test these guys on the road. They haven't lost. They know how to walk in the trap and take over. But they are 1-1 at home, something they got to clean up and fix. As we take a look at the key players, scouts, I hope you're looking at this kid, Riley Haskins. He's a tough one. 29 from 44, 393, and 4 total touchdowns. 4. Goodness gracious. That's a lot of touchdowns for this kid, and he's been doing it all season. If you take a look at the stat sheets, Riley Haskins, he's been letting it rip. He's been letting it fly and getting the yards for Lovejoy. Lovejoy still unable to come away with a win, but individually, this kid's been showing up and been impressive. And over on the other side, of course, big Robin Banks, 21 for 26, very efficient tonight. 241 and a touchdown. Wasn't too explosive in this game, but he just got it done. Only 1 touchdown, which is very rare for this kid on a night like this, but he did still very well, high production. Only missed 5 targets, 86 yards on the ground. So still a strong game for the reclass senior on his way to Boise State. Remember, this kid just reclassed a few days ago and sent in his commitment. He wants to play on the blue field. I think that's what I'm getting. He wants to play on the blue field. He's officially locked in. 27 carries is pretty crazy. But he gets the job done and they get the win and they move on 3-1 headed to week 5. As we move on to this next game, guys, one of our bigger games of the week. Well, so we thought, until DeSoto came out and made light work of good old Allen. Allen been fighting all season. We've seen him put up numbers after numbers. I'm talking, we've seen him put up 30 and 40 points. But this just was not their day. Only 7 in the first and 7 in the third, and just a measly 3 in the second. And that's going to be their night. 17 points. DeSoto, on the other hand, almost 14 a quarter. 14-7, 14 and 14 for a total of 49 points, and just a massacre on the road. DeSoto continuing their undefeated season and continuing their road dominance. 3-0 on the road. Right now have won the most road games in the state of Texas to be the best road team in the state right now. The DeSoto Eagles really handing it to Allen in dominant fashion, dropping those guys to 2-2. Still a pretty impressive and competitive season for Allen, but these guys were just not ready for Allen. This was the battle of the Eagles, and the DeSoto Eagles are going to take this one. We take a look at the key players. Todd Kersey really shut this kid down. Junior quarterback's been getting off all season. He did, however, have 88 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. That's his game, so he played to his strengths. But boy, did they shut the passing game down. He was 13 for 19, so it's like it was a good game, but not a good game, because boy, he did not get it done, and no production in sight here. But I'd say it was an efficient night for him. He just was shut down. He didn't have, his receivers couldn't get open. The defense was too much. But all in all, this is one of Todd Kersey. This is Todd Kersey's worst game. But keep a lookout for this kid. He's a tough one. Just a junior here. Got 1 more year for him. He possibly could reclass if he gets the proper offers from certain programs. He might think about the reclass and end up joining CS7, and we might see more TK. But this kid, Jet Anderson, Andy's Jet, oh my goodness. I'm talking about one of the best performances we've seen this season. I don't care what week. 24 for 25. Are you kidding me, Jet? 291 yards, 62 off 10 carries. And I love this number the most. I think this is the highest. Matter of fact, I know it is. Someone got close. I think it was 5 touchdowns. 6 total touchdowns, passing touchdowns for this kid, Jet Anderson. I know his receivers was loving him that day. I know the tight end was loving him today. I know they were feeling it. 6 touchdowns. Gifts for everyone. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. This kid is impressive. You got to keep an eye out for Jet Anderson, because Let me tell you something. 4-0. He's got DeSoto 4-0. And right now, this kid's also uncommitted. So he's another interesting recruit here. I'm very, very curious to see where this kid is going to go. I really got to say, I'm very, very intrigued by this kid's decision. I haven't seen, I think I got to go look on Instagram and see his offers. But I'm very, very excited to see who can land Jet Anderson and where he goes. I mean, this kid's impressive. I think he's a junior, hasn't sent in a reclass. So yeah, he is a junior currently. Still has an option of reclassing if it's available. Again, guys, you can only reclass if you don't have a current CS6 player going into CS7. This is your only player, whether that means you switched out your CS6 player for a new player. In cases like Tony O coming in for Aiden Semino or Dante Taylor taking over for Samaj Sims. So yes, you can reclass. That's your only player. But if you have a player in CS6, it doesn't really make sense for you to reclass. That's why we made it the way we made it, so you can stay in high school for a few years and just shine and hold it down and keep the aura and the, you know, and the presence of the high school league as we add more freshmen to the high school league in the near future. So that's pretty much how it's set up when it comes to the reclassing, guys. So I just wanted to break that down to you slightly. But this kid, Jet Anderson, I got my eye on this kid, just a junior right now. No commitment from this kid. And no commitment from Kersey. So 2 uncommitted quarterbacks looking for a home. I know the scouts have been hard at work. Big ups to all the scouts, man. This is honestly, this has worked out perfectly. This has worked out just as I imagine. Guys that have been in leagues with me before, they kind of know how I work and how I am on things like announcements and just the surprise factor of things and just all types of things like that. And just really the high school scene, you know, I'm really big on it. So big ups to you guys for getting out there and putting in the work and making the vision come true and making it happen. Because without that, it just wouldn't be as efficient and as great. So shout out to you guys as we get into that last game of the night. Just wrapped up not too long ago, just a couple of hours ago. We seen ourselves a classic, a showdown between Longview and Westlake. Let me know in the chat if you were there for that game. 37-35. Westlake took the victory. The Lobos came back in the end. I mean, they put up a big time second half. Remember, they went down 20-7 in that first half, and they ran it off. They scored at the end of the half. It was a pass to D Blaze, top right corner, touchdown. Burnt them toast. And then after that, they came out the gate with another touchdown. They got the ball at halftime, another touchdown, and they didn't look back. They kept on the pressure. They just ran out of time. But you got to give respect and you got to give proper due to Westlake, because Westlake, although they took a little break in that third quarter, they kept steady. They kept steady. You know, they lost that third, but they still scored a touchdown. They were already up 20. Or they were already up, 17 or 20-7. So they just say they figure, let's stay on top. A touchdown to do. Bounce back in the fourth quarter. Hey, they didn't win the fourth, but guess what? Another 10 points to do. And it surely did the job. 37-35. Westlake coming away with a big time win to remain undefeated. 4-0 on the season for the Chaps. It's going to be 2 road wins and 2 home wins for Westlake. So they're rolling right now, winning every which way, on the road, at home, you name it, neutral sites. They're getting it done. And Longview taking their first loss of the season, maybe their first home loss of the season, still undefeated on the road at 2-0. As we take a look at the key players here in this game, Cameron, Hennessy, 21 for 28, 184 yards, 64 yards on the ground, and 3 total touchdowns. So not one of his best games in terms of yardage, but he was efficient, just 7 missed targets, and he did get busy on the ground as far as 64 yards and 9 carries, and he still put points on the board, 3 touchdowns. So at the end of the day, he did his job. But Tommy Armstrong, hey, as much as they talk about him, they were talking about you all day, Tommy, in the chat, but all I see is Tommy in the key players stat sheet. 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a sack on the board for Tommy Armstrong, senior, headed to Mizzou, as well as Cameron. That's going to be his quarterback for life. No, that's gonna be his quarterback for the years to come, unless anything happens. You know how that portal heat up. But for right now, Mizzou is cooking. I mean, they are cooking. Tony, oh my goodness, this kid is one of those ones. 26 for 30, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 93 on the ground. This kid is one of those ones, and he's going to be headed to LSU to be a Tiger. Question is, who is he going to be passing the ball to? Haven't heard from PVV. I believe my guy is going to be leaving at the tight end position. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm sorry about that, Chant, but haven't heard from him. That was actually my guy that was helping me with the stats. So that's going to be a blow as well. What was it? Finn Fowler, I believe, and then Samaje is now Dante. So T.O.'s got some recruiting to do for LSU. He right now, and then JD left the league. So who is, I mean, they usually call LSU receiver 1, wide receiver 1, wide receiver U. Right now, they don't have any. I'm very curious to see what LSU does in terms of receivers. So if you guys are listening out there and you're looking to join the series, LSU could use a few receivers. If you're out there looking and you're in high school and you're uncommitted and you're a receiver, Tony Oliveira is looking for a receiver. This kid's special. You might want to tap in with him ASAP. Nonetheless, guys, that'll do it for our week 4 recap. As I do want to talk about a little bit here what we have going for week 5, official week 5 schedule. Guys, get a good look at it. It's going down. Of course, coming in hot Friday, 6 p.m., we got Byron Nelson against Allen. Trying to see if Allen can bounce back. Byron Nelson coming off a win. Let's see him go on a road where they have yet to get a win. Prosper and South Oak going to be Friday night lights. I wanted to see South Oak on a Friday night to see what they can do. The Golden Bears having some tough games lately. A tough loss followed by a very close win. They're going to get a tough Dante Taylor Prosper team coming into their house. 8 p.m. Friday night. Saturday, Super Saturday, we got Lovejoy, Lake Travis, Westlake, Permian. 4 p.m. game, we got South Lake, Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill at home, trying to see if they can get their first win at South Lake. Looking pretty good in this week's dominance. Followed by Cibolo and DeSoto. Cibolo 3-1 still, took a L, but still 3-1 going up against a 4-0 DeSoto team. That's going to be a tough matchup for Cibolo. Really tough defensive team, but DeSoto showing you offensively 49 points. Jet Anderson 6 touchdowns. It's going to be a fight. Sunday, Super Sunday, kicking off with Lancaster and Attica City. We got John Wilson versus Keandre Williams, freshman versus senior. Let's see how they lock in. Deuce Willis at the running back position. Carlos Thompson, recent Clemson commit, also been doing a very great job at controlling both sides of the ball this season. Look out for the athlete to get it done, receiver and corner. Then we got Longview and Aledo coming in too at 1 p.m. Longview looking to bounce back. Should be a gimme game for these guys. Summer Creek, D-Ville. Summer Creek coming off their first win of the season now. They're going to have to go into playing the top team in the nation, the top team in the state, I should say, at home at Duncanville. That's going to be a tough game for Summer Creek, but the way they played this week, they can possibly make it a show. I wouldn't sleep on them. I wouldn't doubt it. It is Texas football, top 20 football. So you don't sleep. You just tune in and you watch and you see the madness. And then we're closing out with our game of the week. I'm talking about North Crawley, 3-1, 2-0 at home, 1-1 on the road. So they're looking to get ups on the road right now, sitting at 500 on the road. North Shore, 3-1, 1-1 at home, 2-0 on the road. So very opposite scenarios here. Both teams looking to get a second win in that category. North Shore took a tough home loss not too long ago there, just 2 weeks ago. as they fell to 1-1 at home. So they're looking to get their second win at home. North Crowley looking to get their second win on the road. One has to go down though, so that is going to be a great game to watch. A lot at stake there. Both teams looking at a 3-1 record. Only one can move on to their fourth win, and one will be looking at that second loss, which I'm sure neither wants to be looking at when it comes to week 6. Well, going into week 6 at the end of week 5, they want to be up on top. So that's going to be a great game to watch. Game of the week. Make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be North Crowley versus North Shore. The Panthers versus the Mustangs. Let me get some predictions in the chat. I'm going to run through really quick who I got. I'm going to be taking Allen in that first game. Even though Byron coming off a win, I'm taking Allen. Prosper, really tough team, but I'm going to be taking SOC. They've been taking some tough blows lately. I think they come out and show us that dominance we've been missing the last couple of weeks. I'm going to be taking Lake Travis against Lovejoy, even though Lovejoy, you know what? Actually, I take that back. I'm going to be taking Lovejoy. I like what they did against SOC. Lake Travis disappointed me. I love Foley still. It's all love, but I'm taking Lovejoy. I think that kid, what was his name over there? Riley. That kid can throw that football. That kid can throw that football. So I got to go with Lovejoy in that game. And on top of that, my boy Josh just enrolled over there with Riley Haskins, so we're gonna see what he can do at the tight end position there, Josh Chucky. So I believe that's how you pronounce it. I think in the application he put it in the parentheses. So we're gonna see what Joshua Chucky can do over there at Lovejoy, making his debut there as a senior. We're gonna get him some reps before college. Already paid up, already submitted. We'll see him in CS7. And he is already actually committed to, I believe, or maybe I didn't see him commit. I thought I seen him commit somewhere. Yeah, he did. He committed to Utah. That's right. So yeah, he'll be headed to Utah. So tune in to see newly added senior tight end Joshua Chucky. Just got his grades together or something. I don't know. He's eligible now though, and he will be suiting up for the remainder of the season and headed over to Utah in CS7 to add to that team who made it to the national championship just this past season. So big ups to Lovejoy in that matchup. I'm going Westlake to take down Odessa, and I'm going with, as much as I want Cedar Hill to get their first victory, I think I gotta go with South Lake. Just playing some really good football right now. This previous week showed me a lot, showed me what I needed to see, and I'm gonna go with South Lake. And this next game, Cibolo, DeSoto, very tough game too. I'm a big Cibolo fan, but I cannot turn down what DeSoto is doing right now, and I gotta go with this DeSoto Eagles. Lancaster versus Atacosita, I gotta go with Lancaster. I gotta take Longview in that game against Aledo. Summer Creek, Duncanville, you guys know I've been going with Summer Creek all season. I'm a Summer Creek fan right now. I'm still taking the upset. I'm going with the underdogs. Duncanville, I feel like they're gonna win it, but I'm taking my pick at Summer Creek. I'm going with the upset. And then North Crowley, North Shore, you guys know I don't never like to pick the 8 p.m. game of the week winner. It's just too tough. That's why I make it the game of the week. It's tough to call. It could go either way. Both teams locked up, locked and loaded, 3-1. It's going to be a tough one. Johnny Holiday versus LeBart Vic. That's going to be a matchup. Two different types of quarterbacks. Johnny's going to be in that pocket working, throwing the football. He's got an arsenal of weapons out there receiving the ball. Peyton Shanahan, PJ Montero running the football. He can also catch it. Davion Royal, big time athlete, big time football scorer. Let's talk about it. 2 touchdowns, 166 yards, big time player. So just you gotta watch out for this North Shore team. But Crowley, we know, locked and loaded, a lot of weapons. I'm talking Troy Mercer back there in the backfield, having himself a solid season. You got guys like it's not even Sanders anymore, but forget what his new name is, Simpsons. My boy Simpsons out there receiving the football. Aiden as well, Aiden Tajira. Jermaine Henderson at the tight end position. So Matthew Simmons. It's a lot going on in that ball game. A lot of user work, A lot of defensive action. DeAnthony Carter over there, Deshaun Simpson. So it's just going to be a game, man. I can't be more excited for this game. If I had to take my pick, I just can't. It's just too hot. It's too hot. It's you guys let me know in the comments, man, because this is going to be a showdown. I don't know about that one. That's going to be a good one, but that's going to wrap up my picks for the week. And last but not least, my last thing I want to talk about here, I didn't get a chance to get the graphic up on the screen in time because I didn't really have one, but I will manage to just throw it up here now for you guys and just resize it really quick. Let's see. But we are officially opening the transfer portal. The transfer portal has officially opened for the season, guys. Yes, I said it. The transfer portal has officially been open for the season. Let me just get this here right. I'll keep it here. We'll rock with that. I don't got time for that. But the transfer portal is open, guys, so I will be putting that in the Discord where you can go and log your transfer. Same thing for commitments. You can only put one message. Just put one. So if you want to put a picture, if you want to put an edit, do that, or just a word or two or whatever, just do that. But don't put multiple posts, one post per person. Also, I want you guys to make sure you listen to everything I'm saying, because it's very important, or there will be consequences. I got my guys on the job, trust me. So Perk, everybody listen up. Isaiah Frost, hold on, let me give you this admin, brother. I don't know what's going on. What are we doing? Okay, so make sure you guys are tuned into this information here. So number one, yes, the transfer portal is on and it's ready to go. It is closing officially July 10th. July 10th is signing day for everyone, right? That's why it says no on signing in the spreadsheet. I will have a spreadsheet. I already have one for transfers as well. If you put a transfer in that thread, you cannot delete it, nor can you edit it. We are not accepting any edited transfers. If we see an edited transfer, you will be denied your transfer completely. There will be no warnings. This is your warning, right? This is your warning. So don't do it. I'm just advising you guys strongly to not test it, because the guys that are on board and on the in monitoring it, I'm just gonna let them know, and that's, it's gonna be what it is. So be sure to get that to Chosen. He's in charge of all of the portal and the commitments. He's got all that covered. He is our media guy. He's the guy that I want you guys to go to with the news. He's the guys I want you guys to go to with all the information, and so he can get graphics ready to go. Remember, we want to keep our graphics top notch. We want to keep them coming out timely. So I know it might be a little bit of madness coming in, so anyone can step up right now and let them know in the chat that the transfer portal is officially open. Direct everyone to the transfer portal thread that's there for us. Let them know July 10th is the deadline, and let them know there'll be no edits. There will be no edits, guys. So and no deletes. If we see that you posted and deleted, you're just done. There will be no transfer. Point is, don't put nothing in that chat if you're not 100% sure. That's it. Like, let's just not make it complicated. Don't make me the bad guy. Don't make me the bad guy. Let's just do what's right. Let's just follow the rules. So again, communicate with your guys. Another thing, number two, that was a long one. Number two, right now you cannot put a transfer if you have not reinstated. I repeat, you cannot write in the transfer portal if you have not reinstated and paid your reinstatement fee. It makes no sense. I don't know if you're coming back. I'm not going to waste any time entertaining your player if he's not going to be here. So if you have not reinstated, you should not be putting any type of commitments or transfers. You just shouldn't until you give us your commitment to the league for CS7 and we know that you're going to be here. Then go ahead and go ahead and put your transfer in. But if you have not reinstated, you should not be putting in a transfer. Please do not do it. Please spread that a little bit of news as well. Number 3, let me address the one transfer rule, right? That's been a thing. That's been the main topic here that we've been talking about, or at least I've been seeing in the chats. I believe there was already something set in place from Smitty. Shout out to Smitty, commissioner of the RFL in total. But I think there was a one transfer rule. I believe, guys can correct me in the chat if it was 2. Again, this is my first full year in college, so I'm still learning some things. But I do believe there was a one transfer rule for everyone. Now, my thing and my take on it now, taking over here in college, I do believe there should be, we should uphold that, because we don't want a lot of guys just moving around and changing up things year after year. Yeah, only granted one transfer, exactly. So we want to keep things, steady and the storyline steady, and we want people to know when they sign up who they're going to be coming to play with, things of that nature. And we just want to keep things locked in. But at the end of the day, I'm also I'm for the people, and I also I'm open-minded, and I just like competition, and I feel like if people are invested and they really enjoying something, they're gonna or let me take that back. When people are enjoying something and really somewhere where they want to be and having fun, they'll be more invested. So I look at things as a whole. I take a step back and look at things from many different perspectives, and I feel like I will say this, but there will be a stigma with it. There will be, not stigma, but there will be what am I trying to say? There's a catch. So if your school, obviously, okay, so if your school wasn't in CS6, then yes, you're granted a free transfer, no doubt. All right, if your school was not in CS6, you are granted a free transfer. Okay, so if you had to be forced to leave your school in CS5 to CS6 for the reason of it not being in the series anymore, then you do have a free transfer for CS7. Okay, so let me be clear about that. So guys, be clear when you relaying this message. If you had a team in CS5 and you were forced to transfer in CS6, you have a free transfer for CS7. If your school is not in CS6 now, what does that mean? Because then you wouldn't be able to go to that school if it wasn't a CS6. If you can't transfer. Or let me know what you're trying to say. I could be reading it wrong. Because if your school wasn't in CS6, then is that basically what I'm saying? And also, guys, for CS7, I'm hearing I'm thinking we're probably gonna do play now. We're not gonna do dynasty just because I want to be able to use all teams. But think about it like this: if we do the dynasty, it will be a 32 team thing, is what I'm seeing or hearing from the news. So we will have to pick 32 teams, but the good thing is we don't have 32 teams with users, right? So we'll have all the teams we need regardless in the dynasty. But I'm thinking about play now for the most part, so I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. Again, a lot of this stuff, we don't have the game, we don't know a lot, we going off speculation. So once I get the game, I'll be able to talk about a lot more, Brian saying, if you were forced to transfer after CS5, meaning your school wasn't in CS6, then you get a free transfer. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, Brian. So yes, but there is a lot of opening spots, guys. I will be putting out a CS7 roster soon. This roster will only consist of draftable generics from CS6 that you should be familiar with if you followed up on the series, and it will consist of committed players. Even though you're not signed yet, I'm sure you guys are going to be signed because the flipping is over. So it will consist of committed players that have paid their fee and that are and it will consist of returning players as well. So CS7's rosters will consist of returning players, newly added submits, and high school commits, and that's it. And generics from last season. No players who have not reinstated will not be on this list. So you will get to see a full list of players and teams who have players in which positions. So you'll see USC is without a quarterback. Cinco Cardenas is done. He has officially graduated from college. I think he's been in the series since back in CS2. We're going to CS7. There's no way he can come back. Same thing for guys like the Savage kid, Xavier Savage. Like, these guys are already moving on. They fulfilled their college duty. So teams like USC need a quarterback. You know, a lot of teams need quarterbacks. All right, so let's just keep that. I mean, especially when we're doing play now and we're using 132 teams, you know, everybody needs a quarterback. So that's why I have, like, we have 10, or how many teams do we have in this series right now? I believe 10 that we're really accounting for. And then we have a couple of extras, right, that we added on to make it 20. But that's why I'm putting 20 quarterbacks, not necessarily 20, but all the quarterbacks that are seniors, that are generics, they're going into CS7. They're going to go right in and go to these schools that are not getting the press, or that are not, you know, having user players. So we're going to be seeing these Todd Kersey's, Riley Haskins, you know, Jacob Patty's, you know, all these guys at these schools, North Carolina's, you know, all these guys. So if you don't go to USC, one of them gonna go to USC. So it's gonna be somebody there that we know and that we've watched in high school or in the previous college season. So keep that in mind, guys. Again, I'm gonna also make a thread. Maybe while I'm doing this, one of the mods can handle this for me, guys, just so I don't forget. Y'all know how I get when I lock into my bag. I just be doing a lot. So yeah, Braxton Scott as well, chosen. So it's just these guys are gonna land in these places regardless. So if you guys don't commit there, we will get someone in that's going to be part of the series, whether generic or not. Another thing, guys, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at y'all, but one of my mods, somebody please, if y'all could, in the chat, let's get a returning thread made. Returning, what do I mean by that? I mean, this is a thread for guys who want to come play in CS7 that are currently in the Pro Series, who didn't get a chance to suit up for Season 9. So those are the guys who, you know, are basically in limbo. You know, it's kind of like you entered the draft but didn't sign an agent, right? Like, they just said, we're gonna go back to school now. So we're gonna make a returning thread for S9 players, so that that means they have to come back exactly the same player. Okay, so let's keep that, you know, let's keep that up there in the top part of the information as far as that's concerned. Is you have to come back the same exact player. You will have your attributes that I find online or wherever I find it, on a spreadsheet on YouTube or something. You'll have your same attributes from CS5 and you'll work your way up from there. That will include your upgrades that you put in over time as well, if I find them in the chat, for college only. So yes, you can come back, you can transfer, you can hit the portal. Now here's the catch, the guys have dibs. The guys have dibs. The CS6 guys have dibs. There's no such thing as, well, what if I'm a better player? We don't know that to be true, right? Especially in this new game. So they do have dibs. They were here last. If they reinstate, that is their spot. Same thing for a submit. If he submitted before you, that is his spot. But you are more than welcome to come back free of charge. Unless you want a particular overall, then you will go and submit as your returning player, as some have done, for 90 overall, 80 or whatever. But other than that, you'll come back with your attributes from before, and whatever that equals up to on the college game from the generic that you're built over is what it will be. Generics you guys are being built over will be guys in classes, real prospects from the game. So I heard we can't edit real players in the game with their actual names because they're getting paid to be in the game. So what I'm feeling like I have to do is, which just reminded me why we might have to go to dynasty mode, is because I'm going to need to simulate a few years just to get a roster that I can actually edit names and players. Right? So I have to get rid of these guys that are on the game right now, these real guys. I might have to sim like 5 years just to get rid of all the real players so we can have a dynasty full of prospects and generics. Right? So that's what I'm thinking. I haven't had the game. I don't know what's going on. So once we get the game, we'll know more about that. We'll stream, we'll figure things out. But for right now, I'm thinking ahead. That's what I'm feeling like the move is. Like, we have to sim ahead to get actual prospects that we can even edit, or else we're cooked. We can't even edit, so it's gonna just be dope because we're gonna have real prospects that we're building over versus like star players already. Like, it's gonna be a true experience nonetheless. So I'm very excited for it. So just keep that in mind, guys. Returning players are welcome to come back because you guys didn't get a chance to have your rookie season in the pros due to the suspension. But this is your opportunity to come back and have fun in this new college game, right? You guys didn't get a chance to play in the college game. You guys played in CS5 in the mod era. Well, hey, look at this. Now you get an opportunity to see your guy play in CS7 and have that experience even going back into the pros. Once the pros start back up, you'll be where you were anyway, where you got drafted. So just have some fun. Come back and have some fun. Take your guy on a trip in the new game. And so yeah, again, you're welcome to transfer, free transfer, of course. If you don't like the current situation or the depth chart, then go for it. We will have position battles as far as QBs are concerned. I don't suggest it. I don't really want it much, but I've done it in the past and it's been fun. So if you just truly want a QB position and the guy is down for it, the guy has to be down for it though. The other guy has to be down for it, the current player, because they do have dibs. But if you hit a guy and you're like, yo, you down to QB battle, I don't mind throwing on some sims and everybody tuning in and watching you guys play, and ultimately everybody just voting on who they think is the better quarterback, and then ultimately as well grabbing the reps from the college and they determining who's the quarterback to win it, and then from there we'll go ahead and transfer you out to a different team, and that's just all fair square. So I will be introducing position battles coming into CS7, but like I said, it'll be rare occasions. It won't be happening too often, but it will happen. But other than that, I did want to continue to talk about the portal as well. Another thing, guys, I will be letting up on you guys as well. I will give you guys a handout here. So like I said, if your team wasn't in CS6 and you had to transfer, you get a free transfer. I'll also give you guys transfers. You guys that's transferred 1 year already, I'll let you transfer, but the thing is, you have to go to a new school. So that's the catch when it comes to that. If you want to make another transfer, if you're just not happy with your team, all of a sudden you're not cool with anyone or whatever the case, you have to go start a new culture somewhere. You can't transfer to any other teams with users that have already played in CS6 or any of the high school players. You have to go to where just generics are and build your own culture and recruit, or newly submits. So meaning you can play with a newly submitted player. If he's over there by himself, you can join him. He wasn't in the game before, So if a newly submitted player is over there, you can join him. If multiple newly submitted players are on that team, you can join them. But you can't join any previously orchestrated teams with users. You have to go to a new program and start a new legacy there if you want an extra transfer. Those are for the guys who already have transferred the right way and are fresh out of transfers. You are getting a fresh transfer here, but you have to go to a new team with new players only or generics. So a lot of information to take in here tonight, guys, but I do hope it got across to most of you guys. Of course, I'll be in the Discord checking in. I won't start recording and doing all those things for another day or two, so I will have time on my hands to chat it up and answer all your questions in the Discord and stuff like that. But as of right now, that's my time, guys. I appreciate you for staying strong and watching. Any questions you have for me, definitely hit us up on the Discord. Make sure you guys follow us at RFL College Series on Instagram and at RFL High School Series as well. So, but right now, guys, have a blessed Sunday night. It's your boy Zeke, and I'm out of here. Peace.